Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Fix, and we are back with another epic What If Naruto fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto was trained by Madara Uchiha? If you love Naruto fanfics, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey with me. So, let's start the fanfic. The fourth great ninja war had ended long ago. But what if, long before any of that, destiny had twisted differently? What if the boy destined to inherit the Wall of Fire had instead been shaped by the fire that sought to burn the world? This is the story of Naruto Uzumaki, the child of Professor raised not by kindness, but by shadow. The story of a boy who learned from Madara Uchiha himself. The twist of fate. On the night Naruto was born, the Nine Tails rampage tore through Konoha as it always did, but fate's thread snapped. Differently this time. When Minato sealed half of Kurama within his son and the other within himself, the sealing process was interrupted. A strange rift appeared, not a jutsu, not space-time ninjutsu as known by mortals, but something far older. A dimensional tear. Through that rift, a remnant of Madara Uchiha's consciousness, bound in limbo between life and death, felt the pulse of an immense chakra, a newborn with the potential of gods. Madara saw opportunity. He reached through the rift, not with malice but with curiosity, and seized the child. When Minato turned to see his son, Naruto was gone. The village searched for months, but no trace remained. To them, the boy was lost. To Madara, he had been found. The boy in the void. Naruto awoke in a world unlike any other, a grey expanse where the ground itself pulsed with chakra. Towering obsidian monoliths surrounded him, engraved with ancient Uchiha symbols. From the darkness stepped a man whose aura could silence the stars, his hair long and wild, his eyes burning with the power of eternity. Who are you? The child stammered. I. The man said, his voice echoing like thunder, am Madara Uchiha. Quote, Naruto trembled. Where's my mom? My dad? Madara looked down, the faintest hint of pity flickering behind his Sharingan. They are gone. The world took them from you. The same world that once took everything from me. Quote, Naruto's eyes watered. Then, I'm alone. Madara knelt before him, placing a cold but steady hand on the boy's head. No, boy, you are not alone. From this day forward, you will learn from me, the truth of this cursed world, and the power to reshape it. Quote, answer, the training began. The training of shadows. Madara didn't raise Naruto with warmth, he raised him with challenge. Days were filled with brutal sparring sessions, chakra control so intense it shattered the very earth, and meditations that delved into the core of existence itself. But Madara saw something he hadn't expected, light. Even as the boy's fists bled and his body collapsed from exhaustion, Naruto smiled. I'll get stronger tomorrow, you'll see. Madara frowned. Foolish optimism. That will destroy you. But deep inside, the ancient warlord felt something stir, a long-forgotten echo of Hashirama's voice, mocking him even in death. Greater than, see, Madara. There will always be someone who carries the fire forward. Quote, to crush that hope, Madara pushed harder. He taught Naruto about chakra natures, battle tactics, and deception. He showed him visions of war, blood, betrayal, and the endless cycle of hatred. And yet, Naruto didn't grow bitter. He grew determined. The awakening. At age 10, Naruto's chakra was already monstrous. But what set him apart wasn't the Nine Tails, it was something else entirely. Madara had introduced him to the Rinnegan Stone, a relic of his experiments before death. It pulsed with the energy of the Sage of Six Paths, reacting to Naruto's vast life force. When Naruto's hand touched it, the stone shattered, and for a moment, his eyes flickered with strange light, blue swirling with violet. A hybrid of Uzumaki vitality and Uchiha evolution. Madara stared in silence. So, the child truly is beyond destiny. Naruto looked up. You said the world is broken, right? Then I'll fix it, I'll make it better than before. Quote, Madara's laughter echoed through the void. Then you are either a fool, or the one who will finish my dream. The return to the world. Years passed. Naruto, now a teenager, wore black armor reminiscent of the Uchiha, plates forged from chakra metal, his cloak billowing with faint crimson. Energy. Madara stood before him, older, fading, his spirit tethered to existence only by willpower. The world will not understand you, Naruto. But they will learn to follow you, or fear you. Naruto bowed his head. I'll find my own way, Madara. I won't destroy the world, I'll rebuild it. Madara's eyes softened, a rare moment of pride crossing his face. Then perhaps, you are my true successor. The void cracked open, revealing the hidden leaf, his birthplace. But it was no longer the same village. Years had passed, and the boy they thought dead was now a legend whispered only in regret. As Naruto stepped through the rift, the world trembled, his chakra shaking the skies. On the Hokage monument, the faces of those who built peace stared down at him. He clenched his fists, greater than the wall of fire, and the wall of power. I'll unite them both. To be continued. Thus began a new legend, not of the hero or the villain, but of the boy who carried the legacy of both Hashirama's hope and Madara's fury. A shinobi who would not only reshape the world, but redefine what it meant to be human. Absolutely, continuing directly from part 1 of What If Naruto Was Trained by Madara Uchiha. With no pauses, no breaks, and maximum detail and depth. This continuation goes full cinematic, a grand, emotional, and intense chapter of Naruto's return to the world that abandoned him. What if Naruto was trained by Madara Uchiha? Part 1 continued. The rift sealed behind him with a low, thunderous hum. Naruto stood upon the outskirts of Konoha, the night air cold, thick with mist and memories. It had been 14 years since his disappearance. The hidden leaf had long since buried the child of the fourth Hokage in its history books as a tragedy of the Nine Tails Night, a name spoken only in whispers. Now, that name had returned, and the wind carried his chakra like the roar of a god reborn. The return of the ghost. The forest trembled as Naruto walked toward the village gates. Each step echoed power, not raw destruction, but the measured calm of someone who had learned to control the storm inside him. The sentries at the gates, 2 seasoned Jonin, froze as his figure emerged from the fog. A tall young man, black armor glinting faintly under the moonlight, a cloak lined with crimson flames trailing behind. His eyes, blue with streaks of violet, glowed with ancient depth. Halt! One of them shouted, reaching for his kunai. State your identity. Naruto stopped. The faintest smile tugged at his lips. I'm home. Quote. The guards blinked. Home. Who are you? Before they could finish, the ground quivered under his chakra pulse. The world itself seemed to bend to his presence. Then one of the guards' eyes widened. That chakra, it's impossible. The other dropped his weapon, voice trembling. No way, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto tilted his head, the wind brushing his hair aside. So you still remember the name. Quote. The 2 Jonin stepped back instinctively. The boy who was once a lost child had returned as a being of overwhelming presence, too calm, too controlled, too powerful. Before an alarm could sound, Naruto vanished. His form flickered into pure motion, reappearing at the Hokage monument. He stood there, gazing down at Konoha, the place that had once rejected him. The village of light and lies. The village had changed. The streets were paved, the homes rebuilt. New generations laughed, oblivious to the pain of the past. And at the heart of it all, the Hokage's tower gleamed, a monument to peace. But Naruto's eyes saw deeper. The whispers of suppressed fear still lived beneath the smiles. The darkness hadn't disappeared, it had only learned to hide. Madara's words echoed in his mind. Greater than, they will build peace atop the bones of the forgotten. That is the way of this world. Naruto's hands clenched. Maybe, but I can change it, my way. He turned his gaze toward the Hokage tower, toward the woman who now led the leaf. The meeting with Tsunade. Inside the tower, Tsunade worked late, signing mission scrolls by candlelight. The flame flickered as the air grew heavy, thick, oppressive. Her instincts screamed, chakra anomaly, immense. She stood instantly. Who's there? The candle extinguished. In the dim light, a shadow formed before her, tall, calm, with eyes that glowed through the darkness. When the light flared back, she froze. The whisker marks, the hair, the aura. Naruto. she whispered. Naruto stepped forward. It's been a long time, Granny. For a moment, Tsunade could only stare, her heart frozen between shock and disbelief. You were dead. Gone for years. We searched everywhere. I wasn't dead, he said quietly. I was training, with someone you'd never believe. Tsunade's eyes narrowed. Who? Naruto hesitated for a moment. Then, simply, Madara Uchiha. The silence that followed was absolute. The candle flame snapped. Papers fluttered off the desk. Tsunade's voice was low, almost trembling. That's not possible. He's supposed to be dead. Yeah, so was I. Naruto's tone wasn't mocking, it was honest, cold, and heavy. He found me. He taught me everything. The truth about chakra, the sage of 6 paths, the world's lies. Tsunade's eyes hardened. You were manipulated, Naruto. Madara. Naruto cut her off. He didn't manipulate me. He opened my eyes. He turned toward the window, looking down at the village lights. You think peace is real, but it's not. It's just fear wearing a smile. People behave because they're afraid of the next war, not because they've changed. Tsunade clenched her fists. And what do you plan to do? Destroy everything. He looked over his shoulder, eyes glinting with light and shadow. No, I'm going to finish what both of them started. Both. The dream of Madara Uchiha, and the dream of Hashirama Senju. A world where true peace doesn't need fear to exist. A new dream. Tsunade's expression softened, her voice barely above a whisper. Naruto, that's not how peace works. You can't fix everything alone. He smiled faintly, not defiant, but sad. I'm not that loudmouthed kid anymore, Granny. I know that now, but I am the one who'll change it. Not with talk, but with proof. Before she could speak, he vanished in a golden flicker, a new kind of space-time technique that merged Madara's control with Minato's speed. Tsunade stood frozen, her mind reeling. Naruto Uzumaki had returned, not as a child of prophecy, but as something beyond comprehension. The unseen watchers. As Naruto walked through the night, he sensed them, masked figures moving across rooftops, their chakra hidden but familiar. Anbu, he muttered. They surrounded him silently, weapons drawn. One of them, wearing a fox mask, spoke. By the order of Lady Tsunade, you are to come with us. Naruto didn't even turn. You can tell her, I'll visit again soon. When I've gathered what I need. The Anbu captain lunged forward, blade flashing, but in the next instant, Naruto's chakra flared. A pulse of dark blue and violet energy erupted outward, paralyzing them mid-motion. Their weapons shattered mid-air. The force was like gravity itself bending around him. Don't follow me, Naruto said softly, eyes glowing with Rinnegan light. You'll only get hurt. And with that, he vanished again, the air left humming, the ground scorched from residual chakra. The Anbu barely managed to breathe again, collapsing under the weight of what they'd just faced. That power, that wasn't Kurama, one of them gasped. It was something else. The shadow of a new dawn. Far beyond Konoha, in a ruined temple overlooking a valley of mist, Naruto stood alone. He gazed at the sky, where once the moon shone bright, now faint cracks of purple light flickered faintly. A ripple of energy pulsed through the heavens. Madara's words echoed once more. Greater than, the moon watches over all humanity. When you are ready, it will answer your call. Naruto's cloak fluttered as he raised his hand toward it, chakra swirling around his palm like a storm. I'll reshape the world, he whispered. Not through domination, but through unity. A unity that no one can break, not even the gods. The air shimmered, as if the very stars were responding. To be continued. And so began the rise of a new force. Not Madara's dream of control. Not Hashirama's dream of peace. But Naruto's dream of balance, born from both light and darkness. A dream strong enough to challenge heaven itself. The night after his return, the world began to change. Unseen by the peaceful villagers, the air of the shinobi nations trembled with unease, as if the earth itself recognized that a force it once feared had awakened again. Naruto walked across the silent plains beyond Konoha, his cloak whispering against the wind. He had no destination, only purpose. Madara had taught him that peace could never last if founded upon fear, compromise, or illusion. To build true peace, he would need to erase the very systems that allowed hatred to survive. But unlike Madara, Naruto didn't seek to enslave the world under illusion. He wanted to force truth into existence. A truth where lies could no longer hide behind the names of Hokage, daimyo, or clan. The power beneath the sky. He stopped near a river, a mirror of silver beneath the moonlight. He knelt, dipping his hand into the water, feeling the current. The world keeps moving forward, he murmured, but it never learns where it's going. Kurama stirred inside him, his deep, gravelly voice resonating through Naruto's soul. You've changed, brat. Naruto smiled faintly. I've grown up. No, you've become more like him. Madara, maybe, but unlike him, I'm not giving up on people. I'll make them understand, even if I have to break the walls of the world to do it. Kurama grunted. You sound like someone about to pick a fight with destiny again. Naruto chuckled. Wouldn't be the first time. He stood, the air around him shimmering with chakra. Above him, faint sparks of violet lightning crackled, not from the clouds, but from his body itself. Madara's final gift was more than knowledge. It was a link to the raw, cosmic energy of the Sage of Six Paths. Naruto's chakra had evolved beyond human comprehension, part Rinnegan resonance, part Uzumaki vitality, part something new. The gathering storm. Back in Konoha, Tsunade called an emergency meeting of the Five Kage. Naruto's sudden appearance had shaken them all. Gaara, now the Kazekage, leaned forward with calm urgency. If Naruto Uzumaki has truly returned, and claims to have been trained by Madara, we can't ignore this. The Raikage slammed his fist against the table. That boy's chakra was always a monster's. If he's been twisted by Madara's ideology, he's a walking cataclysm. Quote, Tsunade's eyes glimmered with regret. He isn't twisted. He's changed. His chakra felt different, like standing in front of both the sun and the abyss. The Mizukage, Mei, frowned. You mean to tell us he's become something between the sage and a demon? Quote, Gaara's gaze lowered. No, he's become both. There was silence. Each cage felt it, the subtle dread that the balance of power in the world had shifted. Tsunade finally spoke. No one will engage him. He's not an enemy yet. But if he makes a move against any nation, we must be ready. The reunion in shadows. Days later, Naruto reached the Valley of the End, the place where Madara and Hashirama had once clashed, where his own destiny had been tested countless times. The two colossal statues still faced each other across the raging river, worn by time but still defiant. Naruto stood between them. This is where it all began, he whispered. He could feel it, two opposing energies lingering in the air, Hashirama's life force and Madara's eternal hatred. He closed his eyes and extended his chakra. The air began to swirl, the river freezing mid-flow, the world around him blurring between time and memory. In that moment, Naruto's consciousness touched the realm between life and death, where Madara's fading spirit still lingered. The ghost of the warlord. Madara appeared before him, cloaked in shadow, eyes glowing faintly red. So you've returned to me, boy. Naruto bowed slightly, not as a student this time. As a successor. Quote, Madara smirked. And what have you done with the gift I gave you? Naruto's gaze hardened. I'm going to use it to fix everything. Not through illusion, through truth. I'll tear down the lies of this world and rebuild it with honesty, not fear. Quote, Madara's smile faded into a cold, approving smirk. Then you truly are my heir. You've surpassed me. He stepped closer, his spectral hand hovering near Naruto's chest. But remember this, power without understanding breeds tyranny. Understanding without power breeds tragedy. Only when both coexist can the world be free. Naruto nodded silently. Then I'll carry both. For you, and for everyone you couldn't save. The ghost began to fade, his form dissolving into ash and light. Then go, child of chaos and hope. The world awaits its reckoning. The return of the rival. As Naruto opened his eyes, he felt it, a sharp, familiar chakra approaching. From the trees above, a voice called out, calm and cutting through the silence like steel. You really came back, didn't you, Naruto? Naruto turned slowly. Sasuke stood there, older, his cloak fluttering in the wind, the Rinnegan in his left eye glowing faintly. Sasuke, Naruto said softly. It's been a long time. Sasuke's gaze was unreadable. You vanished. Everyone thought you were dead. And now you return with his chakra. Naruto looked at him evenly. Madara trained me, yes. But I didn't become him. I became me. Sasuke's jaw tightened. You sound just like him. Talking about remaking the world. What are you really planning? Naruto walked forward, the ground cracking lightly beneath his feet as chakra rippled from him. I'm going to unite this world for real. No councils, no wars, no hidden villages with hidden agendas. I'll bring the truth, even if I have to destroy everything built on lies. Sasuke's expression darkened. Then you'll have to fight me first. Naruto stopped, inches away, the air between them electric with raw tension. I expected nothing less. They stood, two forces of nature, two philosophies embodied. Madara's successor and the last Uchiha of peace. The valley erupted as they clashed. The battle of gods. Sasuke moved first, lightning cloaking his blade, his Rinnegan warping space around him. Naruto countered with raw force, a chakra blast that split the river below them in two. Every strike was like a natural disaster. Every movement shattered sound. Sasuke's Sharingan predicted Naruto's moves, but the new energy within Naruto wasn't bound by logic, it bent space itself. Each Rasengan carried gravity, each punch distorted air. You've become a monster, Sasuke shouted, blood at the corner of his lips. Naruto's voice was calm. No, Sasuke, I've become what this world needs, the storm that clears the skies. Quote, their final blows collided, Rasen Shuriken infused with Rinnegan energy against Chidori powered by pure lightning god chakra. The explosion shook mountains, tore clouds from the heavens. When the dust settled, both stood, bloodied but alive. Sasuke stared at Naruto, no longer with hatred, but with sorrow. You'll burn everything down. Naruto's expression softened, only to rebuild it. Sasuke closed his eyes. Then I'll be the one to stop you, if you lose yourself. Quote, Naruto smiled faintly. That's all I need to hear, brother. He turned away, cloak flowing with crimson light. Until then, watch the world. See how far it's fallen. Then decide if I'm wrong. And with a flash of golden violet energy, he was gone. The rising of the dawn. Sasuke stood in silence, the echoes of their clash fading into the valley winds. He gazed up at the moon, now faintly cracked, pulsing with strange energy. In the distance, Naruto walked alone across the horizon, the dawn rising behind him. Madara's final dream had not died. It had simply changed form, reborn in the heart of the boy who once swore to never give up. Now, he carried both salvation and destruction within him. And the world would soon have to choose which side of him it believed in. The wind howled through the ruins of the valley long after Naruto vanished, carrying with it the faint echo of thunder that marked the clash of gods. Sasuke stood there, still and thoughtful, his Rinnegan pulsing faintly as if reflecting the turmoil inside his heart. He had fought Naruto many times, but this was different. This wasn't the reckless boy who believed friendship could heal every wound. The Naruto he fought tonight was something else, someone who had glimpsed the abyss, touched it, and returned with its power. As the dust settled, Sasuke turned his gaze to the horizon where Naruto had disappeared. You've changed, Naruto, he muttered under his breath. But I can't decide if it's for the better, or for the end. Quote, The shadow of a new dawn. Far away from the leaf, Naruto stood atop a mountain overlooking an ancient forest, one that had been untouched since the Warring States era. The moonlight painted his cloak in hues of violet and gold, his chakra forming faint ripples around him. This was no longer the Nine Tails chakra alone. It was something deeper, something that hummed with the resonance of creation and destruction. He reached out, feeling the whispers of old energy through the soil and the wind, remnants of the chakra that had once belonged to Madara and Hashirama. It was the birthplace of every battle, every ideology, and every cycle of hate that had ever stained the shinobi world. Madara's voice still echoed in his head. Peace without power is an illusion. Power without wisdom is a curse. Quote, Naruto took a deep breath. Then I'll be both, even if it destroys me. The hidden village in the shadows. Weeks passed. Rumors spread through the nations. Stories of rogue shinobi disappearing, of old ruins glowing with strange chakra, of figures seen moving beneath the moonlight wearing black cloaks with red streaks like flames. These weren't Akatsuki remnants, these were Naruto's chosen. He had begun gathering the lost and the broken, shinobi cast out by their villages, orphans from forgotten wars, and wanderers who had lost their purpose. To them, he wasn't just a savior, he was a storm that promised to tear down the rotten world that had rejected them. They called themselves Shin no Yoke, the True Dawn. Under Naruto's command, they built a new village deep in the borderlands between the land of fire and the land of rain. Hidden from the eyes of the 5 great nations, this village didn't rely on hierarchy, clans, or politics. Every member had a single creed. Greater than, no gods. No kings, only truth. Naruto sat in the center of this new beginning, overlooking the training grounds. His new followers bowed as he passed, not out of fear, but respect. To them, he was the bridge between the mortal and divine. Kurama, ever watchful within him, growled, "You're building an army, Naruto." Quote, "I'm building a chance," Naruto replied calmly. "They've all been betrayed by the system that claimed to protect them. I'll give them something better, a home where no one's destiny is written by others." Quote, "Sounds a lot like what Madara said." Naruto smiled faintly. Then maybe he was right, just in the wrong way. Echoes of the past. Late one night, as the campfires burned low and the new recruits slept, Naruto wandered into the forest. The trees whispered around him, and for a brief moment, he saw flickers of memories, Jiraiya's laughter, Iruka's smile, Sakura's tears, and the Hokage monument shining in the sunlight. He clenched his fists. "I never wanted to become their enemy." Kurama's deep rumble broke the silence. "You can still turn back, brat. The world doesn't need another warlord." "I'm not a warlord," Naruto said quietly. "I'm a reformer." Quote, "And how many reformers became tyrants when the world refused to listen?" Naruto didn't answer. He simply looked up at the stars, cold, distant, but eternal. "If they won't listen, I'll make them." Quote, The 5-cage summit, the boy becomes the threat. Meanwhile, in the land of iron, the 5-cage convened once more. The room was thick with tension. Tsunade's expression was grim. "He's building something, a force strong enough to rival any of our villages. Intelligence reports call it a village without borders. They call him the Storm Sage." The Raikage snarled. "He's going to start a war, Tsunade. You should have stopped him when you had the chance." Gaara raised a hand. "Naruto isn't our enemy yet. He's searching for peace, even if his path is extreme." The Mizukage, Mei, shook her head. "He's following Madara's philosophy. Today, it's peace. Tomorrow, it'll be control." Quote, Tsunade exhaled heavily. "If we go after him, it'll be a bloodbath. He's stronger than he's ever been. If we provoke him, we might not survive it." Gaara looked at her with sad eyes. "Then maybe it's time someone talked to him. As a friend, not a cage." The desert meeting. Days later, in the endless sands of the Wind Country, a storm raged. At its center stood Gaara, his sand spiraling around him for protection. From the horizon came Naruto, walking calmly through the chaos. The sand parted before him like water. Gaara's heart clenched. Naruto looked older, his aura radiant yet terrifying, his eyes carrying both warmth and sorrow. "Gaara," Naruto greeted. "Why?" Gaara asked simply. "Why walk this path?" Naruto looked into the storm. "Because the world we bled for still lives in chains. The villages pretend peace exists, but hatred still sleeps under every roof. I'm done pretending." Quote, "You're not their enemy, Naruto. You're their symbol," Gaara pleaded. "If you destroy the system, you'll destroy yourself." Naruto smiled faintly. "Maybe I already did." Gaara's sand trembled. "Then tell me, are you going to wage war?" Quote, Naruto turned away, his cloak flickering in the stormlight. "No, not war. Awakening." As he disappeared into the wind, Gaara whispered, "Then the world won't be ready for the storm you bring." The seeds of revolution. Months passed. The world began to change. Naruto's new village flourished. Lost shinobi found family again. Orphans became warriors, scholars, and builders. They no longer needed the Five Nations' approval. They had Naruto, a leader who spoke of truth instead of loyalty, equality instead of heritage. But peace built outside the system always threatens the system itself. The great nations sent spies. The spies never returned. Then came the rumors, whispers that Naruto had discovered something deeper, the source of all chakra, the first root of the sage's power. And he intended to awaken it. Sasuke, meanwhile, had vanished from Konoha. No one knew where he'd gone, but soon had suspected the truth. He was hunting Naruto. The return to the beginning. In the dead of night, Naruto walked once more to the ruins of the sage's temple, the same place where he first connected with Hagoromo. But now, the chamber pulsed with dark energy. A faint voice echoed through the hall, not Madara's this time, but the echo of something older. Child of destiny, do you truly seek to rewrite the balance of life and death? Quote, Naruto stepped forward, eyes glowing gold and violet. Not rewrite, restore. The world's balance was broken the day chakra became a weapon. I'll end that curse. And what will you become, if you destroy what makes you human? Quote, Naruto hesitated. For the first time in years, he felt fear, not of failure, but of becoming what he swore to fight. Then I'll become something more than human, he whispered. Something that ends this cycle once and for all. Quote, the temple shuddered. The walls cracked as ancient symbols lit up. And deep beneath the earth, a heartbeat echoed, vast, godlike, ancient. Kurama's voice thundered in his soul. Naruto, what have you done? Exclamation mark quote. Naruto's eyes widened as a colossal energy surged upward, a power beyond even the sage himself. And from the light, something began to awaken. The ancient temple trembled beneath the weight of power that hadn't been felt since the beginning of the shinobi world. The glowing sigils along the cracked stone flared brighter, bathing the underground chamber in blinding light. Naruto's hair rippled like golden fire, and his eyes, one glowing with the brilliance of the sage's light, the other burning crimson like a god's fury, stared straight into the abyss of sea. Creation itself. Kurama roared within him, his voice filled with alarm. Naruto, stop this now, this power doesn't belong to mortals. But Naruto's expression remained calm, almost mournful. Then maybe mortals were never meant to be chained by gods. Quote, the earth split. A blinding explosion of chakra erupted upward, shaking continents, splitting seas, and warping the skies. Every cage, every tailed beast, and every shinobi in the world felt it, an overwhelming pulse that made even the strongest of them fall to their knees. And in that blinding storm of raw creation, something began to take form, a being vast, ancient, and incomprehensible. It had no face, no defined shape, only the essence of every element, every chakra, every emotion. Its voice was the sound of the universe breathing. You, seek truth, vessel of chaos and hope. Naruto stood his ground, his cloak torn and glowing with embers of divine energy. I seek balance. This world's peace is a lie, bought by blood and ignorance. I'll remake it, even if it means standing against the gods themselves. The being shifted, its form rippling like liquid starlight. You are not the first to seek change. Madara sought domination. Hashirama sought harmony. The sage sought understanding. What do you seek, child of both light and shadow? Naruto clenched his fists. I seek freedom, for everyone. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the being's voice softened. Then prove it. Prove your resolve by enduring the weight of every soul bound by the chakra of this world. Before Naruto could react, the energy of countless lifetimes surged into him, the pain of generations, the screams of the fallen, the hatred of the damned. His knees buckled. He saw visions, the burning wars of the past, shinobi turning on each other, innocent lives crushed by the ambitions of the powerful. He screamed, his chakra flaring uncontrollably. The ground beneath the temple split open, sending waves of destruction through the land. Kurama shouted, you're tearing the world apart. Naruto's voice echoed through the chaos, pained but unyielding. Then I'll hold it together myself. The storm that touched heaven. Lightning split the clouds as Naruto rose from the ruins, hovering in the air, his body surrounded by a sphere. E of spiraling energy, half divine, half demonic. His chakra radiated so fiercely that even space itself seemed to bend around him. From every direction, powerful chakra signatures rushed toward him, the cage, the Biju, and hundreds of shinobi drawn by the storm. At the forefront was Sasuke and Gaara. Sasuke's Rinnegan glowed intensely as he stared upward at his oldest friend. "Naruto," he whispered, "what have you become?" Gaara shielded his eyes from the radiance. "He's beyond human." Tsunade's voice crackled over the communication link between the cage. "Everyone, stay back. His chakra density is breaking atmospheric stability. If we attack recklessly, we'll destroy the continent." Quote, Sasuke ignored her. "He'll destroy the world before that happens." With a deep breath, he launched himself forward, the Rinnegan whirling, his chakra forming wings of pure lightning. Naruto's eyes opened slowly as Sasuke approached. "Still chasing me, huh?" Sasuke's blade gleamed with Chidori light. "No, I'm trying to bring you back." Naruto smiled sadly. "You can't bring back what's transcended humanity." The air detonated as they clashed, Rasengan against Chidori once again, but this time infused with cosmic power. Every strike shattered sound, light, and gravity itself. Mountains were reduced to ash. Below, the cage and their forces watched in awe and terror as the sky itself seemed to fracture. The memory within. Inside the maelstrom of their battle, Naruto's mind flickered between time and memory. He saw himself as a boy, running through the streets of Konoha, alone and despised. He heard Iruka's words of acceptance, Jiraiya's laughter, and his promise to bring peace. Then, he saw Madara, standing proud, arms crossed, smirking with the confidence of a man who defied fate. "You've surpassed me, boy. But what will you do when your dream demands you destroy what you love?" Quote, Naruto's heart ached. For a brief moment, his power faltered. Sasuke seized the moment, slamming his hand into Naruto's chest and unleashing the full might of his Rinnegan, ripping open the space around them. The two were swallowed by a void of pure chakra, vanishing from the sky. The dimension between worlds. When Naruto opened his eyes again, he stood in a silent, infinite white void. Sasuke was there too, breathing heavily, his sword lowered. "This place," Naruto murmured. Sasuke nodded. "Limbo. A space between existence and non-existence. The only place strong enough to hold us." Naruto chuckled weakly. "So this is where it ends, huh?" Sasuke's eyes softened. "It doesn't have to. You're carrying too much alone, Naruto. You don't need to bear the pain of the whole world." Naruto looked up, eyes shimmering with sorrow. "You still don't get it, do you? I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for them, the ones who were never given a choice." Sasuke shook his head. "And what happens when you become the monster they need to destroy?" Naruto smiled faintly. "Then I'll let them destroy me. But not before I give them the world they deserve." For a long moment, neither spoke. The void pulsed softly, responding to the weight of their chakra and emotions. Then Sasuke whispered, "You really are insane." Quote, Naruto laughed. "You sound like Madara." Sasuke sighed, lowering his sword. "And you sound like Hashirama. Always believing in impossible dreams." Naruto extended a hand. "Then maybe that's what keeps this world alive." Quote, The world remade. Back in the real world, the storm had vanished. Only a brilliant sphere of light hovered above the destroyed landscape where the temple once stood. Inside it, two figures floated, Naruto and Sasuke, still connected by chakra, their souls glowing faintly. Then, in a burst of radiance, the sphere collapsed inward, and silence fell. When the light faded, the valley was reborn. The land that had been scorched was now teeming with life, green, pure, untouched. Rivers flowed with glowing water, the air hummed with calm chakra, and even the sky seemed new. From within the forest, a group of Naruto's followers knelt in awe. Their leader, a young kunoichi with blue markings across her face, whispered, "He did it, he remade the land." Quote, but there was no sign of Naruto. Only the faint echo of his voice in the wind. Greater than, the world belongs to those who keep walking forward, even when the gods tell them not to. Epilogue, The Whisper of the Storm. Months later, strange things began to happen across the shinobi world. Battles ceased without explanation. Wounds healed faster. People once consumed by hatred felt peace for the first time. The flow of chakra across nations had changed, balanced, purified. Gaara stood atop Sunagaku's walls, watching the horizon. You did it, Naruto. You actually did it. Far away, Tsunade looked up at the sky, tears in her eyes. You stubborn fool. And deep in the ruins of the Valley of the End, where two statues once stood, new ones rose, two figures side by side. Hands joined in eternal understanding. Naruto Uzumaki and Sasuke Uchiha. Madara's dream fulfilled, not through domination, but through unity. As the sun rose over the new world, the wind carried a familiar voice, faint, but filled with warmth. Greater than, believe it, peace isn't given. It's built, one soul at a time. And for the first time in centuries, the world was silent. Peaceful. Alive. The world had entered an age unlike any before. It had no name yet, no era of peace nor chaos, only the lingering breath of transformation. From the ashes of the old nations, a new reality was emerging. The chakra that once flowed like rivers of war now pulsed with calm, harmonized by the remnants of Naruto's divine awakening. But beneath that serenity, something unseen stirred. Every world that's reborn carries the memory of its death. The rebirth of the shinobi world. The new land, once a battlefield scarred by generations of hatred, had been reshaped into a vast plain of glowing trees and endless streams of light. People began to gather there, wanderers, survivors, even retired shinobi, drawn by whispers of a place where war could never reach. At the heart of it all, near a monument carved in the likeness of Naruto and Sasuke, stood a village unlike any before it. There were no ranks, no cage, no exams, no hidden clans, no ancient politics. The people called it Shinsei, the village of rebirth. It was built by those who had once followed Naruto in secret, disciples of the true dawn. They taught children the history of the old world, but never the hate that fueled it. Every wall of the village bore one message, etched in gold chakra. Greater than, truth is not given. It is earned through understanding. Quote, yet, even here, questions lingered in whispers. Was Naruto truly gone, or was he simply waiting for the right moment to return? The ghost in the storm. One night, during a thunderstorm that split the heavens, a lone figure stood atop the statue of Naruto Uzumaki. His cloak fluttered in the wind, and his presence sent shivers through the very chakra of the air. It was Sasuke. He had survived the rebirth, though his Rinnegan had dimmed to a faint glow. His eyes, however, carried the knowledge of gods and the sorrow of men. Lightning flashed as he stared at the land below, his and Naruto's legacy, alive and thriving. Peace built on sacrifice, he murmured, but whose sacrifice? He closed his eyes and reached out with his chakra sense. Somewhere, faintly, he felt it, a heartbeat. A chakra unlike any other. Familiar. Immense. Naruto. The return. Far beyond Shinsei, in the shattered remnants of the Valley of the End, time itself seemed broken. The crater where Naruto and Sasuke had once vanished was now a rift between realms, a place where creation and death danced in perfect stillness. And at its center, floating in meditation, was Naruto Uzumaki. He had not died. He had ascended. His body glowed faintly with blue and gold energy, but his expression was tranquil, his breathing steady. Around him swirled fragments of reality, scenes of past, present, and future colliding in endless patterns. Kurama spoke softly within him, voice calmer than ever. You've gone quiet, brat. Too quiet. Naruto smiled faintly. I'm listening to the world, Kurama. For the first time, it's not screaming. And yet you don't rest. Quote, Naruto's eyes opened slowly, twin galaxies of light. Because peace without guardians fades. And I can feel something stirring beneath it. The world can't exist without conflict. That's balance. I know, Naruto whispered. But this isn't conflict. It's corruption. The forgotten chakra. Deep underground, beneath the new land of Shinsei, a faint black mist began to ooze from the roots of the earth. It was chakra, ancient, raw, and malevolent. It had no name, no source that the people could identify. But Naruto knew. It was the residue left behind by Kaguya Otsutsuki, the remnant of the divine parasite that birthed the curse of chakra itself. When Naruto reshaped the world, he unknowingly awakened the dormant fragment of her will. Now, it was growing again, feeding on the peace that replaced hatred. The cycle had not been broken. It had evolved. The visions of the Storm Sage. Naruto opened his eyes as images flooded his mind, entire civilizations rising and falling, the descendants of shinobi losing the purpose of chakra, turning it once more into a tool for ambition. He saw the future, 1,000 years ahead. A world where technology replaced ninjutsu, where chakra was forgotten, where gods were myths. But he also saw the same flaw repeating: power in the hands of the few, suffering in the lives of the many. His fists clenched. I remade this world so no one would suffer again. I won't let history repeat itself. Kurama sighed deeply. And what will you do? You can't save every era. You can't fight time. Naruto smiled faintly. Then I'll teach time to remember. The second sage. Naruto rose from his meditative state, his chakra flaring once more, but it was no longer violent or overwhelming. It was serene, divine, balanced perfectly between creation and destruction. His aura spread across the planet like a whisper, waking the sleeping energies of nature, stirring the hearts of every living being. In distant mountains, old toads opened their eyes. At the ruins of the Uchiha compound, black flames flickered back to life. Even the ocean itself rippled with a faint echo of his energy. In that instant, the entire world knew. Naruto Uzumaki had returned. The reunion. Sasuke arrived at the Valley of the End as the sky glowed with morning light. He stopped when he saw him, Naruto, standing amidst the ancient stone, smiling like nothing had changed. You took your time, Naruto said softly. Sasuke chuckled, shaking his head. You really never die, do you? Quote, not until I finish what I started. Sasuke's gaze hardened. You already did. The world's at peace. Naruto looked past him, toward the rising sun. Peace isn't stillness, it's balance. And something's tipping it again. Quote, Sasuke frowned. Then you'll fight it. Naruto's smile faded. If I have to. Sasuke stepped closer. Then I'll fight beside you. One last time. Naruto looked at him, his oldest rival, his brother in all but blood, and nodded. One last time. The birth of the Eternal Guardians. Word spread quickly across the lands. Two figures, one with eyes like a god, the other with the heart of one, had returned. Together, Naruto and Sasuke began traveling the world again, not as saviors or leaders, but as silent watchers. They intervened only when balance faltered, when hatred or ambition tried to rise again. They became myths, then legends, then memories whispered to children by the fireside, stories of two spirits who walked among mortals to keep the world alive. Naruto no longer ruled, no longer sought to reshape. He simply guided. He found joy in watching the next generations grow, laugh, and find their own answers. And when at last, after centuries of wandering, he felt the weight of eternity calling him home, he smiled one final time and said to Sasuke, greater than, we did it, old friend. The world finally learned how to live without us. Sasuke nodded, closing his eyes. Then maybe now, we can rest. They sat side by side at the edge of the new Valley of the End, no longer as enemies, but as guardians whose duty had finally ended. As the sun dipped below the horizon, their chakra shimmered and merged with the light of dusk, fading gently into the air, two souls returning to the very essence of life they once fought to protect. And in that final moment, a gentle wind swept through the world, carrying their voices, eternal, intertwined, and at peace. Greater than, believe in your path, and never forget the bond that made you who you are. Quote, Epilogue, The Legend of the Storm and the Shadow. Generations later, children played in the fields of Shinsei. They no longer knew what war was. They didn't know what, chakra beast, meant or what it was like to lose everything to hatred. But when thunder rolled across the sky, they looked up and laughed, saying, greater than, the Storm Sage and the Shadow Guardian are watching again. And deep within the wind, for those who listened closely enough, two familiar voices would whisper through the air. Greater than, the dream lives on. The world had changed once again. Decades after the Storm Sage and the Shadow Guardian faded into legend, the names were whispered only in myth, symbols of hope, power, and unity. But the world had not stopped evolving. Where once the shinobi arts flourished, now stood a civilization of chakra-imbued science. Cities floated above the earth. Chakra cores powered machines. The people believed they had surpassed their ancestors, leaving behind what they called primitive ninjutsu. Yet, balance is not something that can be surpassed. It must be preserved. And somewhere, in the silence between worlds, something ancient stirred, something born from the union of creation and destruction itself. The child of the infinite flame. Far beneath the surface of the earth, in the ruins of what was once the Valley of the End, the air shimmered like heat haze. Beneath it lay an enormous crystal of golden chakra, a remnant of Naruto's final ascension. Within that crystal pulsed a faint heartbeat. It had lain dormant for centuries, but tonight, it stirred. Cracks formed, light spilled out, and from within the blinding glow, a child emerged, silent, unafraid, wrapped in a cloak of living chakra. His eyes opened, revealing a swirl of blue and red, the blend of Naruto's sage energy and the Sharingan's eternal flame. He looked around, not knowing who he was or why the world felt both familiar and foreign. Then a voice spoke from the void, deep, resonant, and commanding. Greater than, so, you are the one born from their will. The boy turned, and standing before him was a towering figure, long white hair, crimson armor, and eyes that burned with the ancient fire of the Uchiha. Madara Uchiha. But this was no ghost. This was a construct, a spirit of pure chakra left behind, programmed to awaken only when the balance of the world began to crumble again. The boy stepped forward, trembling but curious. Who are you? Madara's lips curled into a faint smirk. I am the shadow of what once was, the remnant of power that shaped this world. And you are its next test. Madara's second apprentice. Madara studied the boy carefully, his ethereal eyes scanning the energy flowing within him. Your chakra, it is neither divine nor human. You carry the essence of the sage of six paths himself. And yet, your presence, it burns with something else. Something foreign. The boy said nothing, only stared, his eyes wide with wonder. Madara chuckled softly. So, Naruto, you finally left something behind worth my attention. He extended a hand. If you would live, child, then learn. This world may think peace eternal, but peace without strength is an illusion. The time will come when the strong must rise again, not to destroy, but to remind the world what power truly is. The boy hesitated. Why me? Madara's gaze softened for the briefest moment. Because you are the bridge between light and shadow. You are the will of both Naruto Uzumaki and Madara Uchiha. And I will forge you into what neither of us could become, a god without weakness. Quote, The training begins. Madara's spirit led the boy into a realm that existed outside of time, a dimension born from his own chakra, where the laws of physics bent under his will. Here, the skies burned with red flame, and the ground rippled like liquid glass. Each step echoed like thunder, each breath carried the weight of countless souls. Madara spoke as they walked. Power is not a gift, boy. It is a burden. The world fears those who possess it, and yet, it worships them. That is the paradox of strength. He raised a hand, and countless shadowy figures formed from the mist, ancient warriors, gods, and beasts alike. These are the memories of power. Defeat them, and you will inherit the essence of those who came before. Quote, the boy clenched his fists, fear creeping into his heart. But when the first shadow lunged, he moved instinctively, chakra bursting from his body in a spiral of gold and black. The clash shattered the silence, and with each strike, each fall, the boy learned how to weave chakra through his soul. How to bend nature's law to his will, how to destroy and recreate in the same motion. Days turned to months, months to years. Time meant nothing in Madara's realm. And when the boy finally stood victorious over the last shadow, Madara appeared behind him, arms crossed, pride glinting in his eyes. Well done. You've inherited more than strength. You've inherited understanding. The boy turned, panting, his cloak now glowing with shifting patterns of gold and crimson. What am I now? Madara smirked. You are the balance, the answer to the question that haunted both me and Naruto. You are neither light nor dark. You are judgment. The world's fall. Meanwhile, in the surface world, humanity had grown arrogant. The leaders of the new nations declared chakra obsolete. They began harvesting the natural energy of the world, drawing power from the core of the earth itself. But they did not know what lay buried beneath, the black mist of Kaguya's remnant. When the machines pierced too deep, the earth cracked open, and darkness poured forth once again. Towns vanished, oceans boiled, the skies turned red. For the first time in 1,000 years, people prayed again. And their prayers were answered. The return of the Godchild. The rift between worlds tore open. Lightning surged across the heavens. And from the vortex of energy descended a figure cloaked in both gold and black fire. The boy, no, the man, returned. His aura rippled across continents. Every living being felt it, the echo of divinity reborn. He gazed upon the destruction, his heart trembling with sorrow and fury. Naruto, Madara, you both gave me your power. But what is power if it cannot protect what matters? Madara's voice echoed faintly within him. Then show the world. Show them what balance truly means. The man raised his hands, and his chakra expanded outward, touching every part of the earth. The corrupted mist hissed, screamed, and then, for the first time in eons, began to fade. But as it did, the last fragment of Kaguya's will took shape before him, a monstrous figure of shifting shadows and eyes. It spoke in a voice that chilled even gods. Greater than, you cannot destroy me. I am the curse of existence, the hunger of every soul for power. The man clenched his fists. Then I'll give you peace, even if it costs me everything. The final transformation. He closed his eyes, recalling the lessons of his mentors. Naruto's warmth, Madara's discipline, Sasuke's silence, Kurama's fire, and the sage's will, to bring balance through understanding. As he opened his eyes, his chakra turned white, not from purity, but from completion. The six tomo of Rinnegan merged with the swirling blue of his sage energy, forming a symbol never seen before, the Eye of Eternity. With one motion, he raised his hand and whispered, greater than, Shin no Jojin, the final understanding. The world froze. Time, matter, energy, all ceased to exist for a heartbeat. And then, in a wave of light, everything was reborn. The mist vanished, the skies cleared, the people fell to their knees, weeping as the golden aura of life returned to the earth. When the light faded, the man was gone. Only a single feather, made of chakra, floated down and landed upon the soil of the new world. Legacy of the twin gods. Centuries later, the world told stories of three great beings. The Sage of Six Paths, who created chakra. The Storm Sage, Naruto Uzumaki, who gave it purpose. And the Eternal Guardian, the one trained by Madara himself, who finally set it free. Every era remembered them differently, gods, spirits, or myths. But to those who still felt the faint hum of chakra in their hearts, they were reminders that power, no matter how vast, meant nothing without compassion. And in the night sky, when thunder rolled and the stars aligned, one could almost hear a whisper carried by the wind. A voice, calm yet filled with infinite strength. Greater than, balance isn't given. It's chosen. The world that once knew chaos and peace, war and unity, gods and mortals, finally reached its quiet twilight. The echoes of the old shinobi age were now whispers lost to time. No hidden villages, no chakra beasts, no Hokage, only the wind, carrying ancient names that no one could remember anymore, Naruto Uzumaki, Madara Uchiha, and the Child of Eternity. Yet, legends have a way of surviving death. The last dawn. In a meadow of golden grass, where the sun kissed the land with warmth, a boy walked barefoot. He had never seen a ninja, never heard of chakra. But when he touched the earth, flowers bloomed where his feet fell. He stopped, closing his eyes as the wind whispered, not in words, but in feeling. Warmth, strength, compassion. Who are you? He murmured to the air. And though no voice replied, deep within the wind, a memory stirred. A laughter, bright and familiar. A voice, strong yet kind. Greater than, believe it. The boy smiled faintly. He didn't understand why those words filled him with peace, but he knew somehow that they belonged to the one who gave this world life. The spirit beyond time, far beyond the mortal plane, beyond even the afterlife, two spirits stood side by side upon an endless sea of stars. Naruto Uzumaki, smiling, radiant, his golden aura flickering like the eternal sun. And Madara Uchiha, calm, composed, his red eyes soft for once, reflecting the infinite cosmos. They watched the world below, their world. Not one of conquest or sorrow, but of balance. You were right, Madara said quietly. Peace was never won by war, only by understanding. Naruto chuckled. Took you long enough to admit it, old man. Madara smirked. Perhaps, but you were the only fool stubborn enough to prove it. They stood in silence for a long time, watching the boy running through the fields, his laughter hoeing across eternity. Naruto folded his arms behind his head, smiling softly. Looks like the world finally learned how to smile on its own. Madara nodded. Then our work here is done. Naruto glanced at him. So what now? Madara looked ahead, his eyes glowing faintly with crimson and violet light. Now, we rest, together, for the first time. The eternal reunion. As their spirits began to fade into the stars, a third light appeared, golden and crimson, swirling like fire and storm. It was the soul of the child of eternity, the one forged by their combined will. He bowed deeply before them, his eyes shining with gratitude. Father of light, father of shadow, I have done as you taught me. Quote, Naruto smiled warmly. You didn't have to call us that. The young man grinned. Maybe not, but I wouldn't exist without either of you. Madara's expression softened. Then live on, even beyond gods and time. Let the world never forget that we existed, not as destroyers or saviors, but as men who understood each other. The young man nodded, his form glowing brighter and brighter until he vanished into the cosmic horizon, leaving behind a trail of light that stretched across the universe. The final light. As Naruto and Madara began to dissolve into the ether, Naruto turned one last time. Hey, Madara. Madara raised an eyebrow. What now? Naruto grinned. Guess we weren't so different after all. Quote, Madara chuckled, the sound echoing through eternity. No, brat, we never were. Their laughter blended into the stars, and with it, the universe seemed to sigh, peaceful, complete. The last remnants of their chakra shimmered together, forming a single symbol, the spiral of the Uzumaki Intita. In with the Uchiha fan, and drifted down to the world below, etching itself into the fabric of reality. It would remain there forever, unseen by eyes, but felt by every soul, a silent promise between shadow and light. Greater than, when love and hatred finally understand each other, true peace will rise. Answer, in the end, the story of Naruto Uzumaki and Madara Uchiha did not end with war or death. But with understanding, the one thing neither could achieve alone. The storm and the shadow became one. Their spirits living on in every sunrise, every breath, every smile of the new world. And as the first dawn of a new age rose across the horizon, a whisper echoed through the wind, ancient, eternal, and filled with warmth. Data bio. If you enjoy this fanfic then please like and subscribe my channel Narutofix 11 for more fanfic. Thank you.